Hi, this is me and Get Real. This is video 5. I'm like obsessed with making videos today. I was sitting there like this, really still, but I thought the camera was frozen. And I was like, or that it was on photograph, or like, oh, that I'm actually sitting still. So I missed this gardening thing my daughter told me to go to, and I feel really bad. And I wanted to share. I just watched a video with Rusty. I'm watching like all his videos. 78609. I'm watching him in New Mexico and Arizona. I guess the Grand Canyon, Arizona. Is it? I don't know. So I went. It reminded me of something when he was in New Mexico. He was camping in this forest near Flagstaff, and I actually camped up there on a different. I think it was. It looks like where he was where the forest fires were, and it was all black and charred. And we kept driving up, and I believe it must have been BLM land, Bureau of Land Management, because it had that 2 weeks free camping sign. You must move after so many days, and I don't know what else it said after 14 days. And I feel like we were on the down and over farther because we had the it was more, his was more forested, and where we were was more desert like, and it was actually a little bit forest. That's, I believe, where my cat Joel Jr. was. I think the kittens were trying to climb up this little tree, and I think that's when Joel Jr. was learned how to walk, and he was walking upside down. So, you know how, like, animals walk like this? Like, he was, like, trying to, like, walk. I was like, oh, bother, this guy is just ridiculous. He is so silly. And that cat, him and his brother, one of them died last year. And the last I heard, the other one was still alive in Detroit. And these cats were born in 98, 20 years ago. And one just died 19 years old. I feel so bad. The mom got hit by a car. We left another one. I wish I still had him. And we don't know what happened to the fourth one. We gave this lady a cat named Heather Jr. And it was a boy. And we told her it was a boy. And that we came back to visit this cat, and it was gone. And my ex, when I was married to him, really had a crush on this lady before and after. I hated it. She had like really long hair, and she played guitar. She was like the most peaceful, hippie types, like calm. Like me, I'm just like, ah! And I'm like, sometimes hate myself for it, because then I like judge other people that are like there's some people that are like drama, like, oh my god, and then this happened, and then like I like gained 10 pounds. I was like so stressed out. Like, that doesn't bother me, but I get like intense because other people, um, I get intense out myself because I start to. There's a homeopathic in the repertory. I don't remember. I'm a Libra. There's one that's like, you want justice, and it's a really strong. One of the remedies, I forget which one. It's like, you really want justice. I feel like I was naturally that way. Like, you want balance, you want justice, you want equality, and when you don't get it, you're so distracted, and you're so angry, and you're so like, why does that person get that for not working for it, and why do I work for it and don't get it? And I've learned when other people of color have raised a concern about being qualified and being the best for the promotion, not getting it, or like me, even losing a job after training your replacement, and even if they suck still after you train them, they just like, they don't like your rep. I don't feel like they want to pay you what you're worth, or they make you work as a higher level job without paying you the income of it, and bring other people that are sitting around doing nothing all day and letting you do all the work, because they treat you like you're the slave, and then they get paid $6-10 more an hour than you. It's not like, I had a couple of people of color saying, oh yeah, I wish I could give people opportunity. It's not just, oh, because you're a person of color, I'm going to hire you. It's like, no, you're a person, you qualify for the job, it doesn't matter your skin color, but I'm not going to purposely ignore you for a promotion or for the job because you're black or Hispanic or this or that. Like, they're not just, because they know, and all these managers knew how it felt to be um, looked over for positions because of their race, strictly their race. Not their ability, not their honesty, not their hard work, but strictly their race. And I I hope to be able to give people a chance. I had given a couple of drug addicts a chance, and that was a different demographic. And I said, I'm going to give you a chance. And these people totally played me for a fool and scammed me and did all this crap. And it was them as individuals. I gave them a chance, not just totally saying, "Oh, I'm not going to do this because they're druggy." I gave them a chance, and they totally blew it as individuals. It's not that everyone, like somebody's saying, "Oh, I'm struggling," or "Oh, they're on methadone and they're trying to get off smack," or whatever the thing is, or they're highly on psych drugs that are really messing with their ability to function. You try to give some of these people a chance, but they're being shady, or they're being dishonest, or they're being like if the doctor says do this, then your health will be better, you'll be able to focus and work again. They don't do it, and they refuse to do it. Like, they refuse to even give it a chance. Like, sometimes it's like they're so messed up in the mind that they're not able to function enough. But sometimes they're just like, I don't feel like it, or I don't want to spend $5 to do this, or blah blah blah. Like, and I'm sure that people could say the same thing. Like, why don't you just get up and do dishes and laundry? Like, why don't you just get up and change your bed? Why don't you just throw your kids' mattress in the dumpster? Like, who cares? Like, yeah, oh, I can't. Like, I understand. So you still give them a chance. But when it starts to jeopardize you and your family's health, or health and safety, or it could cause if their behavior is so bad that it could cause, if you, like, say, had a volunteer in your business, or you want to hire someone, and it can cause your business to be shut down. Like the people that get fined when they do underage drinking, they send in the undercover people, and you could get your trouble or your business in trouble, fined. Some instances you could be fired from, depending on your rules. These are you don't want to jeopardize it because someone else is not following your rules, and it's your rules or the law to jeopardize your whole business. And it gets a bad reputation because that all gets published. Um, this guy was in Grand Canyon, and I went. I think I was in Arizona. Sorry, I forget. I went through. I was homeless, and we were really hungry, and we're like, we're going to Grand Canyon. It's gonna be fun. I think it was evening. I don't know if it was in May or June, something like that. I'm just guessing. It was after May 6th, or after probably May 15th. I don't know. I don't even know when I actually had gotten married. When I was married, somewhere around there. Sometime in that summer of 1998, we ended up at McDonald's outside of Grand Canyon and got like 2 Big Macs and a drink or something, or 2 Big Mac meals, which back then you would think they'd be like $3 each, $6. It was $20. And I was homeless, and I was jobless, and I was poor, and my mom died, and my mother-in-law died just a couple of weeks prior to this, and we had no family support as far as emotional support network. Nobody. Everybody hated us. Both me and my husband, we were married. Everybody hated us, and we said, "Oh my God, $20!" And we didn't really know when we went and ordered the food, and we were like so hungry. Like, these are the times. Like, sometimes we just come up with some cash or money to, um, like, say maybe I had $100 in cash when I became homeless. It's like you didn't really spend a lot, and we think it's going to be like $6. So you're like, don't eat when you're homeless like that and you're starved. You don't eat every day. You don't eat meals. You don't eat snacks. But it comes to a point where you're like, okay, let's do something special. Let's just eat something for a change instead of starving almost to death. And we went to the gate at the Grand Canyon, and they said it was $20 or $25 per car to get in. And we're like, are you kidding me? Like, we just spent $20 at the McDonald's. We can't afford that. And we did a U-turn and left. And we thought, gee, we're in a Jeep. Let's find the back way and see the Grand Canyon. So it must not have been. I was thinking. I don't know if we went camping. I feel like it was evening because it felt dark. Maybe it was just forested. But somehow we ended up. Maybe it was the next day or the same day. 8 hours back roading around the Grand Canyon. 8 hours on this jutted road out in the middle of nowhere, Arizona. I think Arizona. And it was almost like an old wagon train or horseback riding trail. It was so jaggedy and just like up, like steep up, down, over. And my goldfish ended up dying. I remember camping out there, and I had to bury him with a cross. His name was August. I am so bad. I think it was that jiggling around, not changing his water. I don't think we fed him because we couldn't really stop the car because we were on these really bad roads. Like we learned, or like when you're off road, sometimes if you stop, you're gonna be stuck. You need that and like momentum to keep going over all these juts and all these rocks and all through all these crevices. You can't stop, and there's no like level ground. And I was the passenger, and I looked outside the windows, and there was all this beautiful nothing desert, whatever, and there was all of these little caves. Like they weren't really caves, like rock shelters, and they were all full of liquor bottles, like I don't know, like vodka. Like I didn't see labels, but and old, old and new bottles and old and new cans. I felt like really old beer cans from maybe decades, just not not decomposing. And I was so amazed at the piles of liquor, and I didn't know who or if we were on native reservation land, who if it was native people coming out to the party spot and just guzzling down liquor and driving off-roading. I don't know, because you are literally nowhere. I don't know if we're on a reservation or not, but there is no road. There is no billboard. There is no power lines. There is just land. We were 8 hours on this, and we finally camped somewhere. I don't even know how we got out of that craziness. Um, trying to think. I'm trying to think of what happened when we camped besides me burying. I think we were in the desert, burying an animal, and I was really mad. Flies were sort of smelling him or something. I wish I was so sad. I just wish I loved. I had him for 4 years, or 3.5 years. And who knows how old he was. He was at least 3.5. And other people had it before me, and who knows how before that. And all I could think about was being outside of this Army Corps engineer man-made lake outside Arkansas, Missouri. That's all I remember next. And the cats swimming in the water. And it was I had a hammock and I had a book. And I was getting, someone was talking about no seams. I was getting all these bugs coming after me. And it was so scary because it was like, um, I don't know how to say it. Mind over matter was the first time. It wasn't the first time. There was times where you're like, we're gonna party, it's gonna be good, you gotta have a positive mindset. And everyone always told me how negative I was all the time. They're like, you have a black cloud. During these times, we're like, we're gonna party, we're gonna have a good time, we're gonna have a positive mindset. And that was kind of my first training on mind over matter. And I was partying because I was a miserable person, because I grew up miserable, a miserable child with a smile on my face, especially when I was away from home. And I remember saying, I am strong, leave me alone, I am living, I'm surviving. And the bugs would be gone. And as soon as I like would be like, oh my god, like I was I was married. This is I don't know, after the so called fake non Grand Canyon we never found the back road. I remember trying to leave him because he was turning into a monster, my ex, and I went with my dog off this road and we got like a half mile or something and my dog was like stopped at this fork in the road, looks at me, looks down the road, looks back at where the camp is. I was like, let's go, we're leaving this school. I probably had nothing. I would have died out in those woods. I had nothing on me. This is Arkansas. I had nothing on me. Probably, I don't think I had a wallet, a blanket. I don't even know if I had shoes on. I go, we're leaving this jerk. I can't deal with it. My dog looked at me, looked at that road, looked back at where the camp was, and was like, see ya, I'm going back to camp. Like, I want to be with that guy. I was like, you jerk. I'm not going by myself. We had the tent, and he was in the tent, and I lit a bonfire, and I was so mad that I married someone who was such a jerk because he completely was ignoring me, and we were alone, lonely. Parents died, out in the woods, no contact with anybody else, and he basically began being really abusive and annoyed with me, and I hated it. I hated the severe loneliness and not being able to contribute to keeping the camp up, and I hated it. And I burned my Jeep's mats. Those things are expensive. And the rubber, and my Jeep was right next to the fire, and those rubber mats with the poly or whatever on top made a huge bonfire. And I had the Jeep like a foot away with the gas tank there underneath it. I said, help me. I yelled for an hour. I go, help me, I'm about to blow up the Jeep. I go, help me with this fire. I go, I'm mad at you, whatever, but help me out. I need to put this fire out. And he just sat in the tent and ignored me. And he was like so mean, like within 12 hours of marriage in Reno, Nevada, and we ended up there. And I was so like, I just destroyed my life by being with this guy. And I literally almost caught my Jeep on fire. It would have exploded. I probably would have died. And we had no fire extinguisher. I had no way to get water. There was water right there, and all I could do was throw handfuls of dirt onto the fire for like an hour. And all I could look at, like, if he had come out, he could have freaking. I couldn't go and look for the car keys and move the vehicle and just let the fire burn, and then go get a bucket and put some water on it. It was so close to my car that I was just trying to maintain the vehicle from. We would have been trapped like 20, 40, 50, 60 miles from the nearest town. This jerk stayed in the tent and just let me be a fool. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you make a fool. What was that? Sometimes you make a fool of yourself. It was really, really nice. Sometimes you make a fool of yourself and you admit, I'm a fool, but I need help. Like, it would almost be like if you're drowning and people just, like, that happened to me. Well, I got saved from drowning. That happened when my kid fell on the slide, and I begged people to help. I had a newborn baby in my hands, and it was at my friend's birthday party, and my daughter was dangling by her leg on this old-fashioned 70s, like, this pipe slides that are really high. She went up there, and she fell off the edge, and she was hanging by her leg, and I was scared she was going to die, and I go, someone help me, please. All these people kept walking by looking at me. I go, can you help me, please? Can you help me? Not one person. Like, dozens of people walked by me, right, like, within half a foot from me, and they just kept walking. And I think what I had to do was take the one child, climb up this ladder, and grab my kid with one hand and yank her out of that thing without breaking her leg. I hate people sometimes. I'm admitting it. I hear people say that, and I go, oh, that's rude. People are just being people. I've had that happen more than once where I was like, I wait till the last minute, and I say, help me, please help me. And I say, help me, please help me. I was in this bathroom. I said, somebody get help. I thought my appendix burst. In my house, I might not even have an appendix. And people coming in all the bathroom, like, please, can someone help me? Can someone send somebody in? I need help. Like, nobody helped me. And mind over matter, I had, like, with the flies, if I kept strong, they'd go away. And at this point, it was every second was spent surviving. I ended up, I don't know when, but I went up to Northern California after Reno and went down the coast, and we thought we were going to see a friend in San Francisco. Never found him. I think he was in San Francisco, and then our other friend was my friend was in, that guy was, that's weird. That guy was traveling. He was from Michigan. We were from Michigan. I was from Michigan. My ex was from Wander. My other friend I met in Michigan on the Air Force Base was in, she's still in Escondido, or she's in LA. She was either in Escondido or LA. We were to visit her, and she started acting crazy, so we ended up trying to find Hollywood. We stayed at Malibu Beach, camping. It's pretty cheap. I think we had to pay an extra dollar for the dog. And my dog went crazy trying to attack some other dog, and I had to sedate her, which sucked because I hated tranquilizing anybody, but we couldn't deal with potentially having my dog kill another animal. It was scary because it was like you're literally on the beach, and it's not like you have a campsite in the forest. You have people walking back and forth. It was really really scary, and I don't know if we had one of those things you twist and put in the ground, but it was sand, so she might have actually got loose. We had to sedate her, and she was just like tucked under the dignity. I don't know what happened, but because I don't know if we had to leave and come back, and we still had the cats. I think there's a couple of times we had 5 cats, and then we had a dog and a goldfish, and we lost the goldfish, and we gave away 3 cats. So we had 2 cats and a dog at the end of this whole ordeal. Um, I ended up. I think it was during that trip. I think it was the first time we went from Reno to the Arkansas thing was later. We went from Michigan to Reno, I think, straight to Reno. But we stayed overnight at some places, and it was the first night we stayed. I don't know if we were in Montana. Does that even match up on a map? I might be wrong. My atlas is in the car. I had let my dog loose for the first time. We were out in the middle of nowhere, camping, who knows where, land, no man's land, and my dog was able to run free because I told you how strict my parents were, wouldn't let her in the yard, wouldn't help me get her a kennel. It was horrible conditions, and the only good thing was when certain people weren't in the house, the dog could roam the house, and we could run outside and play in the yard. And when you're really strict like that, you can't. It's harder to train your dog to walk off leash and to be in the yard, play frisbee and stuff, because it's like you don't want them to go run into the street, which is why it's hard to take my rabbit or my guinea pigs outside. One thing is, one of my old friends, she let a rabbit out on the back porch, and she came back, and all that was left was a pile of fluff. So, anyways, I let her loose, and she could roam and smell and pee and poop and do whatever and dig. Like, I don't know, she just roamed, and I was so grateful because my mom had her for a little while. And then she had been kenneled at my brother's. And it was just horrible conditions. Like, God, I hope that I never. Like, I feel like coming from that type of lifestyle, it just doesn't make you into a very normal person. Like, you're just like you gotta learn. I basically learned everything by age 5. So, if I'm really smart and go to school and work a job and work hard, that's one side of me. But with relationships and like doing normal things, I had to watch YouTube and learn like how to form habits and how to make a schedule for cleaning and how like it's really challenging for me, and there's a lot of like stress from dealing with the past that I feel like I'm repelling people that I want to be friends with and that I want, or I would smother somebody or feel like I need to be smothered by them. Like there's a lot of things about being human that I found challenging. So, anyways, yeah. So, and that's what's sad is when I bought my house, my dog ran across the street. I called her to get food, and she got hit by a car and died. As I just paid cash, moved into this house, moved out of the hotel, gave my dog, put food in the dish, and called her, and she died, and, like, right within 10 minutes. It was one of the worst days of my entire life. And the same thing happened to my cat and my other cat. We had another dog that we picked up. We picked up strays in West Virginia, and at least 4 of them died. About 2 dogs and 2 cats that died on the road within the first year, and then I had my baby. And my neighbor's like, I'm scared she's gonna, when you're not looking or you're sleeping, she's gonna try to come down here and see me. And I said, oh, the guys were supposed to fix up my house, and then I got pregnant with my son, and they never fixed up the house. And I thought in my mind, all I need is a fence. All I need is a fence. At least that will slow him down. At least that will slow him down. And I was scared of the well, the open well, like water well. It wasn't open; it had a little lid that anyone could lift. I was scared of the well. I was scared of the road for my children. And without a fence or even a cement block, you can't even afford to put a cement block, which would also slow a child down from getting into the well and drowning. God, I said the people that bought the house for only $5,000 on 3 acres of land. Like, stupid. That was a really bad sell. Um, they were going to fix up the house, and they had experience, and they had people with trucks and gear for construction. I said, you know what? They got a bunch of kids. She had one and another one, and she was going to have another one. Last I heard, and she was gonna, or the wife was gonna. All the kids' name was Johnny or Jonathan. They all were gonna fix up. I just imagine that they would have put up a fence and fixed up the house, and they did. Last I heard, they had fixed up the house and stuff, and they had them in a trailer. And it got there's a lot of coal and accidents, coal truck accidents in the coal country. They just try to run your butt off the road, and they do, and so that they got the money from that, and were able to buy our house. And I said, no, this house was 10.5 2 years ago. And the neighbors next door were like, they would pay us way more for the house, but I don't know how much. Maybe 30, maybe 50, who knows, maybe even just 12, but it just basically was just barely enough money to get to U-Haul, get up north, and I was gonna come out to Portland and use that money to get out here and start a new life, but we had to use it up north. We got bribed and stayed. My ex-husband got bribed by my dad. We stayed up there. But anyways, before all that, before the kids and the property and all that, having the dog loose at her age was not that good of an idea. She was 8. No. Oh my gosh, she was. No, she was 7 at that age. And had been confined so much that she didn't really know. Like, my kids were the same way because of all the rules. You can't have kids outside alone, can't ride bikes, can't skate. Your kids can't get home from school, so you're in daycare until they're 13 years old. That sucks. And then you try to say, okay, next year you're going to ride 2 buses to school by yourself with a bunch of grown-ups. And pedophiles are all around us. And you can see on the map the pedophiles' addresses, right? Where you look. You're, like, scared. Like, not all pedophiles are online. Only the predatory ones are the ones. At least last time I checked, it was only the predatory ones. The ones that were sex offenders that were non-predatory, like they raped or they abused kids. If they weren't predatory, like they're gonna snatch someone from a park and drag them in the bushes, then they would not be listed in your neighborhood, which is really scary. And I'm saying you could be in school and have a predator in you as a teacher or a gym teacher or a track coach. Like, it doesn't matter. Or I got sexually assaulted on a school bus for track. We had boys and girls together. I got sexually assaulted in the back of the bus before. I have no idea who this person was. They must have been younger than me because once I got a certain age, I know it wasn't older because all the older guys, you're like, kind of know, like, they're like, oh, those are studly guys, like, you knew who they were. I don't remember any guys, actually, from when I was a freshman in track, but at the end, must have been when I was a senior or a sophomore or a junior, that somebody, they must have been, like, younger than me, because I had no recollection of who he was. Oh, that was scary. There's not a dang thing. You just gotta fight these people, you gotta fight them off, right? You gotta, like, shoo them away, kick them, whatever. So we ended up going across the country, Miami, or Montana. I didn't go to Miami. Montana. We were in northern California. I don't think we crossed into Oregon. We ended up Malibu. We ended up also LA, trying to find Hollywood. Couldn't find Hollywood. Ended up going to Arizona, New Mexico. Left flag stuff because we got kicked out when he was walking my cat. When his cat would go outside to go potty. And we got kicked out of the hotel for that because the manager didn't like the way he talked to her about her taking a dump, about my cat taking a dump. And he called the cops on us immediately. We had to vacate And we're like, forget it. We were going to move to Arizona. We got a P.O. box there out in Flagstaff. We were going to stay in this hotel, look for work, and he was going to go enroll in the college. And I was going to finish my internship and replace that class that I failed. So my plan originally was to move to Flagstaff, Arizona, and we got kicked out of hotels. So we ended up in New Mexico, Nogales, and in Nogales we ended up going across the border to Mexico. I thought I was going to die, and we ended up in San Antonio, which I need to look at a map, Texas, and it was the middle of summer, really hot, and we were searching for plants in the vacant fields in the downtown of San Antonio. And we ended up camping out with the cows, and I watched the night sky, and it was so clear in this ranch land. It was so hot in the day. So, anyways, and I could see satellites, and like you see them move like this. And I saw so many stars and satellites that was tripping me out, and I was getting mad. And one day, I had nothing on. I was in my tent, and I went and had my grandma's Afghan on that she made me, green and white chevrons, patterns, zigzag stripes, and I had to go to the bathroom. So I draped this Afghan on. I had nothing else on, and what I learned, also being a confined person as a child, and I'm not from the desert or San Antonio or any ranch. The desert weirded me out because it looks like you're driving or something. You look like it's so flat, and there's just shrubs, no forest. It's not just straight sand like in the Mad Max and the sand dunes. It's like, anyways. So I'm thinking I'm gonna walk to this bush to go potty so that I'm not going next to where the tent is, right? And I count my steps. I don't think I had a flashlight. I count my steps. Um, I I say I'm going to go to that shrub. And I said no, maybe the next one. And I'm thinking in my mind that it's flat and that it's just one or two trees away from the tent, right? And I'm squatting, going potty on the sand. Blanket on. I thought I saw the cat when I was at the tent, Samantha, and I saw tracks the day before, I think, in the sand. And I go, are these Mexicans running across the border? Or are these cow prints? They were just like huge footprints. I was like, are these cow prints? What is this? In the sand, there was like hundreds and hundreds of footprints. And I look up, and there's a cow with horns right next to me. And I freak, and I start running. And the next thing I know, I look around, and it's pitch black. It's the middle of the night. It's kind of cool. I have no clue where I am. And I say, oh, I counted my steps. I was 2 bushes away. I try to backtrack. And I don't know how many days we had been there, but there was railroad tracks, and they were not close. But they weren't, it was like desertish, ranchish land. It was like over there, and there was a red, the lights for the railroad that you could see. And I said, wait a second. If I align myself with what I remember from the campsite with what these lights are, then I'll be able to make it back to the camp. And I backtracked, or thought I was backtracking for hours. And it was still pitch black, and I told myself, you can't see, it's dark. see those two lights, and that's about it. And I don't even know how I could. I don't know if it was a full moon or what. I could see it somehow. I could see this cow, right? And I said, I am going to sit. You know how they tell you if you're lost in the forest, just sit. You know, I'm going to sit here until the sun comes up, and then I'll be able to see you, and I'll get back to the tent. And I stopped for a minute. I have no water. I have nothing but this blanket. And I said, oh my God, it's like 120 degrees in the daytime in the middle of summer in San Antonio on the ranch in the sun. Or 100 degrees, or 110, or I don't know what it was. 98, I don't know. Really super hot, sunny, no shade cover. I have no water. I said, I stopped and I said, oh my God, I have to get back before sunrise. And so I just keep trying to walk away from those two lights to think, like, in my mind right now, it's like, these two lights are here, two red lights, and my camp is here. But it's like, as I kept walking, it was just like, I don't know, I just couldn't match it up. I couldn't match up that vantage point with what anything. I didn't really know anything about looking for the North Star. I didn't really know, like, what the heck to do. And daylight came, and I'm still walking around for hours. And I was homeless, and I had the dog, and dog is German Shepherd Lab, smart dog. I would be like, all right, let's stop somewhere, before this, and get my dog some water. Like, okay, Pebbles, let's get some water. Here's your water dish, here's your food dish, okay, or if she went out to go pee, and you open up the Jeep and get her containers, bowls. Okay, here's your water bottle, or your water bowl. You gotta drink. We're in the desert, we're in summer, we're living in a car, or a tent, or Jeep, or whatever, or laying on the ground, and the sun is coming. I was very bright. It's still dawn. And I go, Pebbles. I go, the dog's got good hearing. Pebbles, Pebbles. She finds me. My dog finds me. I'm not alone. I'm still naked, but I'm not alone. I have a blanket on. And I go get your water dish. Go get your water dish. Go get your water dish. And she's all like, hey. And I was like, thank God. My dog is going back to camp. And my dog, what I concluded, I don't know if this is true, I can't talk to my dog for real. I started looking around and seeing my own footprints. I was barefoot. I kept seeing our footprints, dog and human. Ah, crap. We're going around in circles. And there was cows around, and I go, I think my dog's hunting cow. Like, she thinks that we're out hunting and that we're having a good time. The dogs smile and they got their tongue, and you're like, oh crap, she doesn't have water, I don't have water. And I don't know if I started screaming or what, but finally my, at the time, husband, he's really was a survivor. He finds my butt and takes me straight back to the camp. And it took at least an hour. I don't know how long it took us, but me and him and the dog, it took a while. I don't even know if we were lost, but he was good at sense of direction. We could have all died, and the cat would have been all alone with her kitten. Um, he says, I can't believe, like, the whole time back, he tells me, what an idiot you are. I can't believe you did that. How could you be so stupid? You could die out here. Oh my God, now I'm lost and you're lost. The dog's lost. What an idiot. You're so stupid. So he spent the whole time. And I felt so bad because all I did was, like, if you had to pee in the middle of the night and you have a house, you go to the bathroom. But I'm outside. My mom died his mom died. Our family rejects us. Blames me for them dying. They had cancer. And all I wanted to do was pee, and I didn't want to pee right next to the tent. I was like 25 steps from the tent. Like, I counted. And I went back and took some medication. And I was probably severely dehydrated. I was malnourished because I didn't eat. You know, once you're homeless and you're broke, those ketchup packets that you had when you were a college kid that were in the back of your bill box, they finally run out. You know, you don't have any food. And you barely have water, and that's probably the biggest reason is for the animals. Like, you think when you're treated so poorly, you think of others before yourself. And I went back and got some water and took some medication. And being dehydrated and not having food, I passed out. And I almost died. Like, I took the medicine because he yelled at me, and I was up all night walking around in the desert, and I was feeling like such a horrible person. And all I wanted to do when he found me was go back to bed and hide from the heat of the San Antonio sun. And he made me so humiliated. It's my fault that I took, I don't even know what kind of medicine it was. It didn't matter when you're that starved and that dehydrated. I passed out, and I was really dehydrated. And the next thing I remember was, it smells like bananas, was I I kept waking up in different spots. And like, this happened to me when somebody, they got like harassed and abused in a hospital, and they sedated me, and I woke up with this guy from an MRI or something grinning at me, and I was scared that I got raped because I woke up because something was intense, and then I went back out until the next morning. Anyway, it was like that, like you come in and out of consciousness or awakeness. And I just remember being moved, and I don't remember anything. I'm like, why are the blankets hanging from these trees? They were hanging from the back of the Jeep, like tied to, everything was tied together. I was like, what? And I came to, and he's just staring at me and trying to give me water. I don't think we had any food. Like I said, I was homeless, naked, starving, dehydrated. And where did I say I was? San Antonio? My life, in a way, was like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. There's like stupid crap happen, and you're like, how did I get into this mess? Driving around in some freaking desert somewhere, like a bunch of crazies, and they pick up hitchhikers, like all this kind of weird interactions and stuff. And I I read that book when a relative died in Virginia. I was in the back of the car laughing. My relatives probably thought I was being inconsiderate, but that book cracked me up. I think I read the book, then watched the movie, or did I do the other way around? But that book was for 21. How old was I? I was funny for me when I read it. Anyways, there's some more. Anyways, I was, I don't know if it was immediately after or later. There's also an instance where, I don't know if this is all outside of San Antonio. I think we also had a flat tire, and I go, don't run over that tree. It's full of thorns. He's like, who cares? And he goes over this tree, pop. our tire, change out the flat or the spare. We go into town, get that tire replaced, or patched, or whatever. We get on the freeway and we hear this rattling, and I don't know if we pulled over in town or the other side of the road. We look back, the thing was not bolted on at all. It was just dangling from the back of the Jeep. You know, Jeeps have the tire in the back. Ooh, God, that was scary. Got away till it caused a pile up. Lucky that we heard the rattle. Like, I think we called and went down there. Like, I've had stuff like that happen. Even now, I gotta be careful. Um, and I end up. I feel like I don't know the order of events, but I ended up being told by him. Besides, I was an idiot, and then I quadrupled my idiot, my stupidity by taking these medicines, and I just wanted to check out. But I was bored. I didn't have food. It's hard to sleep when you're hungry. Um, you're riled up. You're scared you're gonna die in the sun. And then to add on what an idiot you are, and all, like I said, all you do is get out to go pee, and you're homeless, and you're sitting out in the woods, and you have nothing, not even clothes on your back, and you didn't do it on purpose. You didn't say, "Oh, let's just take a stroll." You're just like, "Oh my God, a cow!" And you're just running for your life because there's this freaking 2,000-pound animal next to you that has horns bigger than my front of my vehicle, and it scared me. Anyways, I heard that he said that he thought I was gonna die, that he kept feeding me water. The sun was really hot. So he kept putting me into shady spots. That's why I kept seeing the blankets hanging. And he said that I was so sick that I was like having, I don't know if I was puking up green stuff out of my nose. And out of my mouth, drooling and just not waking up at all. Except for those couple times I remember. And so he said it was so hot and that he thought I was going to die. They just didn't give me water. And that he went around to there's no trees and stuff. There's those short shrubs. Try to cover me up with blankets to keep me out of direct sunlight. And I guess between him and my dog saved my butt. I don't know why I didn't ask the cat. She probably would have been pretty good. I'm sure she was probably taking care of her child. She wanted to be lost out there with me, but she probably would have been able to get back. Um, I think that this is before I something happened and we had to go across Texas. And I don't remember if we were going to Michigan or what, but we said it's time to go back east. And like I said, we were homeless, and anything we get a hold of, any money or any credit for gas, just to keep moving and to keep, just, if you park in town, van in your car, they're gonna tow it, right? You gotta have gas if you're homeless in a car. And I thought we drove across Texas for 3 days, and I hadn't been driving pretty much at all. I drove across Texas for 3 days. Um, and all I think of with Texas is just a whole bunch of ranch land in a couple cities and a whole bunch of cops that drove like Mustangs and stuff. And that's what I remember about this drive. And we get out of Texas, and I don't know where. I don't think we might have gone to Arkansas after that. I don't know. I get the map. I'm sorry. I'm spatially weird when I think in my mind Michigan to Reno to California to Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, and back around. And I'm kind of like, when it comes to Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, and all those, I get really weirded out about those states. Because coming from Michigan, you're like smack dab at the top of the U.S. At least that part. I mean, Maine and all that's high up, right? but you're in a peninsula, so you're like, once you go through the peninsula, through the lake, you're in Canada. Like, you, spatially easy to recognize Michigan, spatially easy to recognize Florida, California, like Texas. But then you start getting in Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, all that. It's weird, especially for me, especially the Arkansas and all that. Anyway, same with Montana, uh, Wyoming, Wyoming, to ski, all those weird places. You know, what order? What comes first? I think about it like looking at a map, but then when you're physically driving, you're driving to Big Sky, you're driving back and forth. Like, you have a little map and you just sort of a little car going. And so I remember I go, we're out of Texas finally. I go, that was a long day. It was the day. It took us 3 days to get out of Texas. I don't even know how it took 3 days to get out of Texas when we drove out here from Michigan through the UP. We spent 3 days driving, like 3 days, but we did spend the night. So minus like 8 hours or 7 hours. We drove pretty much straight through. That's like no way Texas is that big, right? All I know is he said I was driving for 3 days and I only remembered one. It was totally road hypnotized. And I hadn't been driving most of the time. I don't remember driving too much. And I don't know where we ended up. Somehow I ended up in a flash flood and freaking Red River, Rouge River, I don't know. Red River, Kentucky. Ended up in a flash flood. Somebody drove out and we drove in. Got our car stuck in the mud. Big, huge mud puddle. He was like in the puddle, like no clothes on or something. Like it was like a really deep mud puddle. I don't know how that happened. And he goes, "We're not going to leave for a while. I might as well set up camp next to the Red River or whatever." And it started raining. I always have to go pee. I have some kind of bladder problem. And I ended up going out one day, and it was 3 rivers. I go, "When we got here, how many rivers were there?" He goes, "One. Why?" "There's 3." And he goes, "Holy crap." Flash flood, he goes, "I'm going to go find higher ground, grab what you can, and go." And this was the first time the dog and cat were in the back of the Jeep together. We opened up the back of the Jeep so I could put stuff in there, and they're both soaking wet right next to each other. Like, humans, are you guys idiots? Like, what are you doing? Like, sleeping while we're, like, sleeping. Like, the water was coming up. Like, the water came up. Like, the water literally wiped out our camp. And that was our house. The water literally wiped out our camp because we had abandoned my Jeep. And we had the cats on our head. And I walked out of water up to my armpits. And I go, "God, if I slip, I'm going to die." Because it was rushing flash flood water. It was up to my armpits. And we were going uphill when it was that high. And we sat in the Jeep on the highest ground and we just watched the river rise and all the water around us rise. And we had to get out of the Jeep and walk up to here. 2 cats, 1 cat on his head and 1 cat on mine. I was like, "Hold on." And the dog swam. She was a German Shepherd Lab, so she had webbed toes. And we ended up going up over a guardrail into it was a 2-lane road. It was really narrow, windy road out in the middle of nowhere. We tried to hitchhike. No one would pick us up. We were drenched. My tent, when we were hitchhiking, we saw, it was getting dark. It was getting closer to dark. It wasn't getting dark yet. We saw my stuff floating down the river. So that meant everything I owned was gone forever. Except for grandma's blanket. That was probably the Jeep. And the clothes on my back. And I had a little Elmo backpack. She got stolen at my kid's music school, unfortunately. But I went through a lot with that little Elmo. Tickle me Elmo. It really tickled me Elmo when you push the button you laugh. We hitchhiked and this guy in a truck came. And I go, "Oh, sweet." And we were about to get in the car. He goes, "Get in the back." So he puts us in the back. And he stops at an intersection. This is where we stop. a whole, like, dozens and dozens of cars past us. And we got in the back of his truck, and he goes, if you go right, or if you go right down there's a pastor's house, they might help you. If you go up, there's a freeway. You can keep hitchhiking. And I told you about my past. My life was so, so, so miserable. So miserable, I didn't even know how miserable it was because I just wanted to not think about all the pain that I felt on a daily basis because of being abused by my relatives as a child and all the way up through that time. Even after that time, I was still abused by multiple people, and I felt dirty. And so, no, I didn't want to go to the pastor's house. Why would a pastor help a dirty scoundrel like me? Like, this is physically dirty, too. And I'm looking for food. I'm super hungry right now. And we got on the freeway. I started hitchhiking, and it really started getting dark. And this guy in a caddy slows down. He passes us, and he gets on his shoulder. He backs up, and behind us, the truck pulls over. And I'm like, this has got to be a joke. We're gonna go back to the car, and he's gonna be this nice caddy. He's gonna be like, ha ha ha, sucker. And anyways, this is a different story. But he goes, get in the back. He goes, I'm allergic to cats and dogs. And we had 2 cats and a dog. And he goes, and we're soaking wet. We just went through that flash flood. He goes, get in the back. And he's looking in the rear view mirror. He's like, oh man, my dad's gonna be mad. He's like, I had to go to town and my car fix is following me. Because where y'all want to be dropped off? So we're hitchhiking for like an hour or 2. I have a picture of myself. And I was probably like 100 pounds then. And I like, there's no billboards, there's no cities, there's no towns, there's nothing on the side of the road. You could jump over a guardrail and see like a restaurant, a gas station, no houses, nothing. And so the sky is our only hope. It's getting to be dark, and we're walking, and we're on the freeway. All these cars are passing us, and with our thumbs out, and he goes, "We're going to Potville." I'm like, "Potville?" He's like, "Yeah, going to Potville." I was like, "All right." That's the nearest town. We didn't know if we were on Ocean Street, we were close to Lexington, Kentucky. We were in Potville, and that's how you pronounce it, Potville. And we got off there, went to Daniel Boone Inn, went to a restaurant, got some food, had to stay there, we had our Jeep, got a cab driver, moved to the Pikeville Hotel, had huge cockroaches. We did get food. We got food on a credit card or something. We had no job, had no car. We were getting food from the Daniel Boone Inn. I was ordering it on the phone and come back with styrofoam containers. It was so good. And basically at this point, we had used credit card that my relatives sent me prior to that. We're just like, it's an emergency. And we had to use a credit card to take a cab out to the Jeep. And it took us out there, dropped us off, and didn't wait for us to drive out. And we ended up, I don't know why they didn't wait. We ended up getting stuck in the mud again. And he was using my Time Life magazine, like those hardcover books, Time Life Mystery Magazine, or whatever they are, unknown, phenomenal, whatever things that they had back in the 90s. He was using them to dig the Jeep out, and I had taken some items that I wanted out of the car, some clothes. I found a couple sweaters and stuff, and I put them by the side of the road to dry away from the mud because the whole inside was green with mold. So I took a couple things out in the sun, and I was like, going to be here for a while. Like, okay, this stuff, when we drive out, we'll stop and pick it up. When we went back, someone had stole all my stuff. They stole my clothes, and they dropped their school rings. I had their school ring. I used to have their school ring and my school ring. I was like, I didn't think to call the cops. All that stuff got left at the old apartment. I missed my school ring. I called before. I was like, did anyone report this missing? Like, no, we didn't have records. We keep the records. We can remake your ring. Like, I just want my missing ring. And I ended up going to this Daniel Boone hotel. I think it was a hotel. Maybe it was a restaurant called Daniel Boone. I think it was the hotel, but maybe it was both. It was in the same parking lot place. But I went and did my laundry. I had like a camouflage t-shirt, like maybe a pair of shorts, and my leather pants, which I didn't wash. And I had like one or two shirts. You know, I was homeless. I didn't have anything. Whatever I had in there, like 6 items of clothes, somebody stole half of them. After I already had my clothes stolen. Now this was before I had my other clothes stolen. The other clothes were in the Jeep. So whatever I had on me, I think I washed, and someone stole half of it out of the dryer. I was so mad because I came in there and my stuff was gone. You think about that. If you're a thief, you got somebody who's freaking homeless and broken, abused, and parents just died, and you lost your home, which was a tent and everything you owned. We went back to the tent. It was full of snakes. It was full of standing water and snakes. I had left my sewing kit and all that stuff. And a couple of things maybe Grandma gave me that my mom, before she died, was all lost. We didn't salvage anything. Anything that could float was already down the river, so the only thing was really my sewing kit. I think we lost the sleeping bags. We didn't have time. You know, all this stuff fit in the car. And we didn't have a trailer or anything. But the flashlight came so fast. I mean, it was probably working its way through there. And I was holding my pee. It was because I had to pee that we noticed how fast it was rising. And we did not have time. You know, when I grabbed Grandma's blanket and my backpack, he told me, he goes, come on, come on, come on, we gotta go now. And I said, no, we can't. And I grabbed my bag and Grandma's blanket. And that few seconds, the way out that he walked, the animals were already in the car. The way out that he found the highest ground to drive out of, it rose that fast. That with 30 seconds it took me to grab that blanket out of the tent. We missed the window of opportunity. And so we just sat in the car and said, if it comes up to that tree there, we gotta flee on foot. Like, there was no way out. There was no way to walk out. There was no way to drive out. We had to make a way to drive out. If we would have tried to drive out or walk out, our car would have floated away, basically. Which we got, there was another story. We got in a flash flood with a baby in the backseat. Like a year later, we got another flash flood down there. Apparently, when you dig up a bunch of coal mines and dig up the earth and don't replant stuff, when the flash flood comes, it really wipes out everything and floods the streets and floods the rivers and floods everything. It was really bad. Excuse me. Yeah, somebody done stole all my clothes and everything. There was no way in heck that I could replace anything. So we ended up taking a check that had been given and taken away from us from my mom's death and buying this house. We spent every single penny on the house, and we only had 8,500, and the house was 10,500. We had 8,000. We wrote a check, and we had no more money. Maybe $5 to keep the account open or something like that. I don't know. And I ended up still being starving and clothesless, and we took the last of my credit card and filled up the credit card, and I bought a couple remnants of clothes at Walmart, and we bought some meat and stuff and put it in the freezer. So this is all the food we're gonna have for a long time until we get a job. And we bought the house. We put that just in our name. Somebody told on us and thought we were stealing energy. As we found out a rumor, they didn't tell anyone's name. They said, oh, they come off. Someone called and said that there's someone living in that house that shouldn't be, and they shut off our electricity. All of our food went bad. We got back from Michigan, and we had to burn it out in the yard. It made me sick. That was the last of our money, so I ended up taking the remnants with fabric and making a couple of not stretchy, I have elastic, but adjustable waistband skirts. Basically, it was like a drawstring skirt with a big opening slit on the side, and that's what I wore. I was pregnant, in a big moo looking thing, which is basically an orange piece of sheer material that I doubled, and all I did was sew it in together and put two strap, like flannel, or maybe one flannel strap around the neck to hold it up. That's what I wore to town. And when I didn't have those, I might have had a third skirt. I had no clothes on. I ran around the house naked. I had no clothes besides those, and they were poorly made because I made them by hand. And I I had my relatives sent me a couple of sheets, so I would be cold and I had no clothes. So I had nothing or sheets, and then we had no food, and I got pregnant under those conditions, and I was so miserable, hungry all the time, like you wouldn't believe. Worse than living in the desert and eating ketchup packets that ran out. It was worse being pregnant and forming a child inside. We got fleas really bad, and it ate through my legs. I swore my bones were exposed. It was so bad. I got infestation in the house, and it was so bad. We had to bug bomb the house and sit outside. And I was hungry and sit outside all day in a tent or something. I don't think we had a tent. I don't think we had a tent. I think we had a blanket. And I got pregnant. He sold my house. Got bribed by my dad. Ended up back in Michigan, pregnant. 8.5, 9 months pregnant with my son. We're supposed to be out here in the Pacific Northwest. And I again had no clothes. And I didn't have anything. Like, I took a couple bucks, like $20, went to Kmart and got two big pair of Mickey Mouse, not Mickey Mouse, Looney Tunes or something. Extra large, plus size, or extra, they had a plus size, triple X, two pair of overalls. That's it. I never in my life during both pregnancies had maternity clothes. And I was about starved to death. And when I was pregnant with my daughter, I was able to eat peanut butter pickles. And canned spinach was like 50 cents a can, and that was a treat. And I was like Popeye eating that whole thing. And I hated spinach when I was a kid, but I was so craving spinach, peanut butter pickles, and I would eat. What's the other thing with this? Oh, I was eating saltines. They were like $1 a pack for one box. Um, I was so tired about how we spent the last of our money buying cat and dog food at the local store. And I was eating some crackers, and he was up in the hammock up in the yard under this nice big tree, and I was crying that as a pregnant woman I had nothing. Nobody cared, and felt like I was gonna starve. I couldn't sleep any night, and I'd finally sleep and have dreams of eating. And I started crying while eating this cracker, and I choked. And I did a Heimlich maneuver on myself in the back of the chair. I was pregnant, and I went up to the tent or to the hammock. And he hated me. Okay, my ex-husband hated me. I hate being hated by everyone. And I just sat down because I almost died, which would have killed my daughter. And I just had to be with somebody. And he probably just left me up there alone. And I was like, well, what a jerk, but I'm alive. And she started sleeping in the day so that he wouldn't have to be around me. And the only time that I would talk to him was he would stay up and wait for me to wake up so we could go to the grocery store. 2 hours away, we were in the middle of nowhere, to Walmart, or there was a closer store, but it was small. And I'm thinking I'm marrying my soulmate, and that we're gonna grow old together and live off the land and grow food and help each other out and go back to school and get jobs and all this. guy hated my guts. He hurt me and abused me, and because I didn't notice any red flags, if he was that way and hiding it before the marriage date, everything before that, he was more nice than my own family was, right? So how could I think that this was a bad situation until my instincts was like, oh crap, what did I do? There's that is the tip of the iceberg. There's so many stories of craziness and of danger and of driving all these places and of doing stupid stuff. And I think the worst thing about my past is making me who I am today, this friendless, dateless person. And it's really, um, like you want to say that you want to say that you're my friend would say, you're only human. We all went through a lot. And she was 69 years old. Like, oh, my ex-husband, oh, I abused it. Oh, I used to drink. Oh, my kids. Oh, there's all that. And these people, this lady reminded me, yeah, you're human. Yeah, you made mistakes. Yeah, we believe in God. Yeah, we ask for forgiveness. Yeah, we pray for each other to be safe and our kids and grandkids be safe. It's like we're different people now. But I think the hardest part about having these experiences, and I know some of it is based on other opinions of people that are older like me that have baggage and a lot of dysfunction as a younger person. I can't make that go away. I don't think I could be like, I'm gonna lobotomize, I'm gonna go to the doctor and have a lobotomy so I can forget these horrible things. But I think the hardest part is changing and praying and just being who you are and being hated by everyone. And you go to work and people just stand there. Women just give you the dirty looks. And women make up crap and tell your boss stuff that's not true. And sabotage. Like, I don't want to leave my drink in this person's like literally sabotage. I've been physically assaulted by women at work. And then having where there's billions of people in the world, a lot of single guys, and you can't even be friends. Like, even if they didn't think you were cool romantically, like if you're trying to tomboy like me, or you had similar interests, or it's a gay guy who has a partner with similar interests, like not one of those people will be a friend enough to be like, oh, you sound like a nice person hanging out. Like, so a couple guys said that, but they were like half my age. Like maybe this one guy was probably more than half my age. He's like, oh, you're cool. Let's hang out in Starbucks. Let's do this. But I don't have a phone. You can't get hold of me. I'll try to call you. But I'm like, since I don't know your age, I'm down with hanging out once at least. And as a point out, as a friend was like, okay, if I find out you're under 18, I'll be a little bit creeped out. Like, I'll be like, I'm not. I'll like hang out, like just as a friend, as a point out. Like, this person was from the same state that I was from, and I thought they were a newbie in town. That's what happened when I came to town. We met some people we knew, the new people, and it was kind of a nice social event. But yeah, nobody liked me when I was with my ex-husband when I came to town. Everybody hated me, and the more they hated me, the more needy I became. I became more needy, and I wanted more attention, and I didn't realize at the time how hard it is to be a parent of two babies and do everything for them 24/7 without a break, without a respite, and without a loving husband. Like, I did the rest of the child rearing alone. But what's worse is when you are married and they go and party with strippers and party with smackheads and try to sleep with them and come home and tell you about it while you're nursing a sick child and like the kid's crying all night and this guy's spending all your money partying and refusing to help you get the health insurance. You know, if he had a job that they offer health insurance and the state goes he needs to go to work and get a note saying that they don't offer health insurance and they refuse to do it, so you like have all these kids and all these problems and you're sitting there with him taking your car, taking all your money, you have no shoes, no clothes again. You're walking around wearing lingerie that he got from a thrift store, and it's like embarrassing when you want to take your kids out to the yard to play, and then you have these old 60-year-old men looking at you like, hubba hubba. You're like, these are all the clothes I have, basically like a slave in my house. Or like, don't know what's worse, wearing lingerie out in the playground or freaking sheet. I think it would be more less provocative to wear a sheet. I have a really bad sore throat. I felt really sick. I want to cry. Um, I don't want to make something happen because I'm being negative, but I feel like I'm not sure. Like I always wanted to find a mate, a soulmate, a friend, a new husband before my kids were born. Somehow set an example or have the kids. You know that's not going to be their dad. You don't know if I would have had an opportunity to have other children. Kids have extra siblings, half brother and sister, but to have a companion, to take turns paying bills or going grocery shopping, to sit around, take pictures, and doing funny, silly things, putting spoons on our noses and laughing with the kids. And there's women that don't have kids and they're divorced and they're out on menopause. But I don't want to complain about it. But I used to think, don't worry, God will find someone for me. Don't worry, don't worry. And every day, another day goes by and I'm still alone. And there's guys that talk to me that hate their lives because they're single and because they want to hang out or sit at Starbucks with somebody. Or, and even these guys that are really depressed are like not, they don't even want to hang out as friends. Like, so, like they don't want to talk to me. They don't want to text me and be like, "Have a good day." Like, "Oh, you're single. Happy Valentine's Day." Like they would talk about who else they're texting about. Like, "You're all texting these women that have boyfriends." You're like if you're single, I'm single, and you're ready for a relationship, you would say, "I'm still not good enough for you." I've already done that whole thing with the guy who kept saying, "Oh, I'm single, I'm single, I'm single." And they're like, "Oh, you want to hang out?" Like, no. My girlfriend would get mad, like, "Oh, you've been spending a year and a half telling me how single you are and flirting, and all of a sudden now you're telling me that." I felt like an idiot. And I was like, I am old fashioned. I want a chivalrous guy to come up and be like, "Hey, you seem nice, let's hang out." But no one does that, so I thought it's my turn to talk to them first and throw down my phone number. Sometimes God directed, and I still made a fool of myself, right? I still made a fool of myself. I still was rejected. And so at 41, almost 42 years old, there's so many stories that made me laugh and cry. And through all that crying, I'm grateful to be alive, and I don't want to say I can't live without a mate or friend, but I had to live this life alone and be a single parent and not even get a dime of child support. And it's just the biggest struggle And even if my kids' grandmas were alive, they were both abusive, so it would have been worse. But you cannot even find. I have the story, I'll say this, that I've told many times of the novel I made up, a short story where I meet the guy at the beach who lost his puppy, and we help him find his puppy, and then we meet his mom, he's single, and they live happily ever after. And like, there's more details to that, but I always have a story in my mind that I will be in the right place at the right time, and that you like, it's like you know that you know that you know that it's a divine connection, and I felt that way in the past 3 years about a couple of guys, and they totally rejected me. Like, I felt like my higher power is like, this person is special to you. There's a reason that you met this way, and you felt it the first time you met this person, or the first time you talked to this person, and these guys went their other direction for me, and then I just felt, when you pray and meditate and you know some things feel a certain way, and then the other person rejects the whole idea, you just feel humiliated, you feel unloved, you feel undesirable. Like, there's a lot of media called unattractive people that are married and couple up and go out and do things and grow old together. It's like you're not only your looks, your demographic, your financial family situation, your who you are on the inside is not even attractive to one male and one potential mate. And you see the women in the stores who are holding hands with their partners. And I look nothing like them. I'll never look like them. And the way they act is really not the way I act. Like, my friend was like that. She would just yell and scream at men and treat them like dirt. And she always had a boyfriend with that attitude. And I'm the opposite of that. And I think that's why, like, people would just fight to be her boyfriend. And she was just so abusive. And I was like, what about me? Just the quiet little me that just likes to go out and laugh and have a good time and go on adventures and, you know, be God inspired to do things that are great in the world. God told me that I was supposed to be with a soulmate so that we could exponentially do the work of heaven on earth. Because it's hard for one person, but two people locked arms can do exponentially more for God to help others, whether it be to have people come into your home, whether it be to be able to go retreat, whether it be to, open up a non-profit, whatever is God's plan. But every time I felt like somebody was there, that was the divine connection, that person ran away from me. And sometimes I still see these people, and I want to be who I was in the past and always apologize and say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you felt that I was an ugly wench. But it's like, my mind tells me, no, that guy kicked you to the curb, treated you like dirt, spat upon your grave. You owe no apology. It's his fault. Do not. Like, you could still be your nice self and these people break up with these nasty girls, these narcissists, and like, well, like, God is saying, when these people do that, and they're sleeping around and get STDs, it's like, they're not gonna go back to you, because now you're not gonna want to contract herpes or HIV from these dudes that they went, that, you know, that they didn't have before when there was a divine connection. Like, there's scary stuff that comes up after, and it's like, I don't know, there's a lot of prayer meditation stuff that happens that I don't want to get into, but yeah, that's the way it is. I hate the guy's comment on the internet about cougars and how he said, oh, if you date, some of these people are only 5 years old, like say he's 35 and she's 40, or he's 28 and she's 32, or 33, or 31 even. They consider that even still cougar. Like, this guy's like, don't even try to date a woman, especially if they have a relationship, they have kids. Those people have so much baggage, it's just not worth it. And why do you want to have all stretched out, you know what? And it's like, I told someone, don't worry, you have a baby, like, you gotta make sure all the facilities out fast, because all your stuff stretches out and it goes taut really fast. Like, it goes really taut really fast down there. Guys freak out. I think if they're in their 20s and don't have kids, that if they try to have sexual relations with an older woman who has kids, and that's had sex with multiple people, that's going to be all. I mean, I think sometimes it might be the opposite. Like, I might be less. Like, some of these people are really slutty when they're younger, and their stuff is like this unhealthy diet. So, like, some of these older women, they're like, oh, it's better now because women are taking better care of themselves and going to the gym. And, anyways, it's none of my business. But being a person who's trained in midwifery and has a license to practice medicine, it's not just dangling around. There's plenty of tautness there. Let's just say that. Um, and you'll be surprised about how older women act and how, like, I don't know how to say it. It's embarrassing. How sexy older women can be, even if you're embarrassed about their demographic, whether it be their race, their skin color, their education, their income level, their status of divorce or single parent. Like, you would be surprised, and part of it is maturity and life lessons, and some of us know how to treat other people with respect, and some of it is your hormones at my age are super amped up. For me, as a really female hormone person, I thought it was bad when I was an adolescent and a teenager, and now I'm like crying to God about this inchiness on that and the intimate side of life, and it's like painful. Like, just to take it from a dude's point of view, I think pretend he's had a younger woman and she dumps him. He was having regular sex like several times a week. Now he's 70 something, and now he's not having any sex, and it's just like you're just like it almost is like painful, like to go from the past to nothing, and you're like, oh my god, this is like torture. But you just have to get up and drink water and exercise and breathe, and like you can't control whether someone else wants to be with you or that your partner left you for a younger man. Like, you can't. Like, I couldn't. I was willing. As soon as you get married, and you're like, wow, this guy's an idiot, and you're like, well, we have kids, well, we're married, well, we plan on getting married forever, let's work through it. My ex-husband was not willing to work through anything. Nothing. Nothing. Just made it worse and worse and worse. And I went so bad. I wanted that to be the end. So I might still have a mental block on that going through those vows was supposed to be a permanent thing for me. And I just have to acknowledge that it didn't work out. And I didn't even get divorced at first because I thought he'll come to his senses, sober up one night, and actually realize that I'm wanting to stay together and keep the kids under his roof, under our roof, together as a family. But it really hurts. It really hurts when you give so much for somebody and they spit on your grave and hurt you and cuss you out. And it's just like,